well, and today we'll discuss something about patent trolls.
Hi, Priggya. Hi,
Hi,
people.
Shalini.
I hope everyone is having a great week. Priggya, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fully energized. I'm traveling, but I was like, I don't want to miss my LinkedIn live because I enjoyed it with you.
Yes. So, what are we discussing today?
So today we are discussing everything about patent trolls, and it is a very interesting topic. So I'll start with you with the opening remarks. And Shalini, in the end, we'll discuss whether it's a good business idea or whether we should stop the practice of patent trolls. But let's start with what are patent trolls.
Okay, are you going first?
No, you start with
I
the
go.
opening remarks.
Okay. So, uh, when I think of trolls, I always think of the one from Harry Potter, the first movie where there's a troll in the dungeon. Supposed to be in the dungeon, but he's in the girls' bathroom, and that is a very evocative image for me because I also have dealt with patent roles in my work life. And so, you know, it is in a description based on my interaction. I think it's quite accurate. So basically, they are non practicing entities that do not really create IP, but they purchase or they hoard IP, and then they start instituting patent infringement suits on other people. So through these suits, then they extract money, and that is how they become commercially productive. And I think that is in a nutshell a patent troll. Although a troll is too harsh a word, I think we should stick with NPE.
Yeah, that's good. So, what I think is like NPEs are of two types. Like they can be research organizations, they can be people who are actually into research and developing patents. But on the other side, they can be patent trolls who are not doing research but probably grabbing patents from failed startups, bogus startups, and mostly the patents which are of no use. And then they use that IP to threaten other companies, and they live on threats. Like they gain benefits from those threats. I think that is the most important thing here is they live on, they gain monetary benefits from the threats. And
Yes.
when I think of trolls, uh, there is a TV series called Silicon Valley, which is one of my favorite TV series. And in that TV series, there is a whole episode on patent trolls, and I find it so funny. Like being a patent attorney myself, I know what is going through. So that guy, he gets a notice and he says, "Okay, I am going to fight this case," and then makes he gathers, I think, 50 people together so that we 50 people will go and fight against that person. And out of those 50 people, approximately 49 people, they just go and settle the case, and he's the only one left. And when he goes to the opposite party, the party, that guy says, because you did not agree, I am increasing the price. And then ends up paying a lot more money than he first asked. So I think that is a beautiful episode. Like if anyone wants to
Which
understand what
channel
is
is it on?
I don't know. I think HBO. I guess so.
Okay.
Online, it is available on this Hotstar.
Okay, cool.
So
You
Hotstar,
do
it
know
is available. So
I don't own a television.
yeah, even I don't have a television
So
at
I
my.
have
I'm
to.
not at my. Therefore, there's a television right behind me. Otherwise, at my home, I do not have a television.
Yeah. So you were talking about research and NPE. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
So, Shalini, like we have research institute, like in India we have CSIR, then we have a lot CBRI, a lot of research institutes. So, what these research institutes do is they also do research, but then they give this patents or their technology for licensing to person who has capability of manufacturing, who have plants, who have factories and things like that. But how they are different from patent trolls is patent trolls do not do research. They don't
Yes.
do anything else. They just go and acquire patents which are not useful patents in the sense, for example, I have this mobile phone, and what they'll go is, if they want to target mobile phone companies like Xiaomi, OnePlus, Apple, all the mobile phone companies, so they'll gather 100, 200, 500,000 patents related to mobile phone technology.
Right.
And if I have 1,000 patents on mobile phone technology, I can go to every mobile phone technology and tell them that out of my 100,000 patents, you are infringing 100 of them. Because obviously any patent could be related, but mostly all those 1,000 patents are of no use.
Yeah.
So instead of fighting in the court, and because in US, as we know, the range of litigation is very, very high. So instead of fighting in the court, what I'll say, okay, you take this much money, but don't institute a lawsuit against us.
Yeah.
So that's how they earn money.
Right.
Like they'll threaten people that we'll go and file the case against you because you are a mobile phone manufacturer and we hold 1,000 patents in the domain of mobile phone. So they
I
just
knew
grab
I
money and
encountered, yeah, I encountered someone who had bought hundreds of patents, if not thousands, on email technology.
wow.
And was anyone who was using or talking about email server, email client, email, anything with the word email in it, they were going after them hammer and tongs. And I was defending one of the people who had received such a notice. And I was telling him that we can counter the claims made by the trolls and you should not give in. And in the end, that fellow could not take the stress, so he settled and he paid him huge amounts.
Yeah.
And actually, there was no worth in in the claims.
Yeah. I can relate to this also because I did a lot of research in this area of patent rules. So uh, I saw cases, $1 billion cases like happening just because they hold so many patents, and it's very, very difficult to find. To give you a fact, it says litigation cost in US is about $1 to $5 million. So I think it is very, very difficult just to fight these patent trolls. And it says companies spend nearly $29 billion every year because of the all patent troll things.
So, do you think we can say that troll represents a blackmailer or an extortionist?
I think so they do, but again, they are doing everything in four walls of law. They are not doing anything against it. And law has given them opportunity to do that. And
Yes.
so I think it's a good business model because they are not doing anything against law. They are actually putting work in acquiring patents and locating patents, like what all we can acquire for free.
Yeah, I think they are excellent human prior search engines.
Yeah, definitely.
So, uh, they how many patents do you need to acquire to to qualify as a troll?
I think it doesn't matter based the number of patents, but it depends on whether you are targeting a specific technology or not. For example, as you said, emailing, or as there could be an example of text message service. So
Right.
even if I have 5 patents in that domain, the technology is very small and the players are just too many. Like I think 9 billion people on Earth can use text message service. So the monetary benefit out of it would be too high, no matter how many legs of the patents are there. So I think it's not about the number of patent applications, but it's about how specific and how small technology you are gathering, and then you're targeting those players.
Do you think they buy all the patents or do they license some of them also?
No, what they do is, Shalini, they generally acquire patents from failed startups and which nobody is using. Like
Right.
if I have a failed startup, I would not mind giving my patent to someone else because I am in any way not using my patent. So
Yeah.
they generally target all the bogus patent applications which are of no use, not commercially viable, not commercially available, or from failed startups. So they'll just locate those patents and then reach out to people and acquire patents from them. So because they are the main intention of them is infringing, which can only happen if they acquire those patents at a larger scale.
So how can we? So I read somewhere that average every year thousands of at least 1,000 startup companies they face patent troll issues at least once a year. So
Correct.
how if I'm a startup can I stop or can I minimize my risk of encountering a troll?
So
And if I do
Shalini,
encounter them, how would I deal with them?
so I think I'll take this in two parts. So there are countries like US and then there are countries like in India. In India, what is the scenario is we do not see patent trolls very high in number, and the reason behind this is Section 3K because it itself does not allow software patents, and patent trolls are mainly seen in high tech software and those kind of demand.
Right.
And then in India, the second very important section what we have is declaratory relief against groundless threats. So the moment we receive groundless threats, we can go to the court and say, okay, XYZ person is threatening me. I am not infringing any of those patents and I won't want a relief against or a declaratory relief against those groundless threats. I can even ask for damages if they are harassing me again and again. So there are countries like India which have these provisions in order to minimize the patent trolls. But then we have countries like US where both parties in the initial stage spend money, and there could be clauses where losing party is the one who has to take uh, all the court costs. So I think that is also one of the factors because then losing party is at least they're scared that we do not, if we lose, we'll spend the twice the amount. So I
Yeah.
think that is also one of the strategy. But what we can do at an initial stages first is not to get worried and not to give them an option that okay we are ready to settle. We should always begin with the discovery phase and know how legitimate are the
Right.
people who are sending notices. What kind of patents do they actually hold? Whether they hold any patent or not. I think we should not negotiate at the very first stage. We should first find out like what is the discovery. Then there are strategies like licensing, cross licensing, patent pooling. Like 10 people can pool together and form a patent pool so that they can push away the trolls. Like, okay, if you are a troll, we five of us hold so many patents, then we'll push you, uh, you know,
Right.
backwards. So I
Right.
think that is
Yeah.
another strategy that we can use. And now you can add, like, if you think of.
Yeah, I think that is a fantastic idea of pooling, which is similar to what your guy was doing in Silicon Valley, where he had collected. Well, of course, that was
Correct.
not pooling, but he had collected people similar people who are facing the same issue. I think in India, other than 3K and 3N, we are also the courts don't award very high damages in patent infringement suits. So therefore, the opportunity cost for trolls is low.
Correct. That is also one of the reasons. Like we do not see much in India.
Yeah. So I think one of the other ways you can also avoid trolls is at the stage of filing where you are make sure that your claims are not too or not overly broad, because
Yeah.
if they are overly broad, you are definitely going to be stepping into someone's, if the language is overly broad, you're going to be stepping into someone else's patent and giving an opportunity to trolls. But I haven't encountered a troll case in India personally. I'm sure there are, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I've only encountered the US ones.
I think mostly it is the practice in US. In India, it's really less. But in US, we have so many cases like airports, with people doing airports, people doing Cloudflare, like Cloudflare is software technology. So that is where actually this cloud. I think it was Blackbird. So Blackbird was it was also a bogus company, shell
Which one?
company.
You're talking about Netflix,
Blackbird.
Netflix and Blackbird?
No, no, it's a different one. So Cloudflare is
Ah, okay.
the company which Cloudflare I think many of us also use
Yes.
for our website protection
Right.
SSL certificate. So
Yeah.
that got a notice from Blackbird, and then Cloudflare decided, okay, we'll fight against. They fought, they won, and they
Okay.
spend a lot of money. But they were like, if people like us would not fight, I don't know what will happen. So Cloudflare actually spent money on litigation, and took years, more than I think 2 years time to
Okay.
for and a lot of documents. You know how many
Yeah.
documents are required in litigation suits? A lot of documents, a lot of manpower, a lot of working hours. But
Yeah.
finally, Cloudflare won.
Right. So Blackbird also went after Netflix. You know,
Yeah,
before
yeah.
Netflix became the platform that it is. Samyadeep is asking share patent troll case, which is what we are doing right now. Welcome, Dr. Kamble and Samyadeep. So we were before Netflix became the OTT platform that it is. It
Mhm.
used to send out DVDs by mail, and on the back of the cover you could select which DVDs you want for next time and mail it in, and then they would mail. You had the option of choosing 1, 3, or 5
Yeah.
every week, and the moment you mailed it out you would get back new ones within 2 days. And this CD by mail, which Netflix started, again the same Blackbird technology went after them uh, for uh, for the patent infringement. And I don't know if there is a final verdict on that. I think the case is still in limbo.
Yeah, they could be. And sometimes these cases they just settle and we do not even come to know what happened.
Yeah,
So that is also
absolutely.
one of the reasons.
So there was one more case, since Amirdeep is asking, there was one more case with Apple and one more company where Ver- Vernetex
AirPods, okay.
for messaging, for messaging apps and for FaceTime, which Apple is known for. And Vertex is a patent troll or an NP, and its entire business premise is this collecting patents and
Correct.
instituting proceedings. So Apple has an ongoing suit with them for the last 12 years. And finally, the court ruled in favor of the NPE, and Apple was ordered to pay costs.
Oh my God. So Apple had another case also on AirPods. It was Apple versus One eBay. So what this company did is they told that we have a website, we have a model of the AirPods and everything. So, and we are well known in this domain. So when they went to Apple, Apple did all the research and they found out there are just 173 views on their website in 2 years' time. They do not hold any technology. So that's why I was saying that discovery phase is very, very important. Who
Yes.
actually is sending me a message? So
Yes.
that case, I think, just died because of research done by Apple and the amount of they actually went ahead and saw like who actually is this one eBay and what do they do, how many products do they sell, and in that case, Apple won.
Yeah. So I think it's important, like you said, discovery, due diligence is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
And just because someone comes to you and says, "Hey, you're infringing on my patent," you don't have to take their word for it. You should. So we do this. I think one of my clients had faced this last year, where where for RFID labels, and there was a company in the US which had sent a notice saying, "Hey, you know what, you are infringing." And basically, they were not an NPE. They were also in the same business, but they wanted a licensing deal out of it. So they were saying
Yeah.
that you are infringing on our patents. You either stop or you buy a license from us. So we did a very detailed claim analysis, and a lot of times you realize that there is already a prior art, and it's
Yeah.
disclosed in some scientific publication and so on. So it just takes a little bit of effort rather than paying huge amounts and settling because someone is telling you to do it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and actually, Shalini, what I think is when people are not aware, they get scared. Like
Yes.
they really get scared. So I think awareness, everything starts with awareness. First, get aware, like who is the one sending me the notice? Who is this guy?
Yeah. But people don't want to go to a lawyer or a doctor until things
Yeah.
are beyond repair.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know. They'll come at the very last stage and then they'll, oh my God, what
yeah.
just happened?
So we are not all bad. Please talk to us if you are facing any kind of intimidation by NPEs or patent trolls. Ultimately, they don't have intentions of making or using or selling whatever the Patent Act guarantees. They don't have any of those honorable intentions. They are solely, they know the patent work. They're solely to get you to settle with them.
Correct, correct, correct. But I still feel it's a good business idea.
So that's why you wanted this question at the end.
Yeah, I really because a lot of people will come and say, oh, patent trolls are immoral. We should not have them. The thing is, our law is incapable to protect us from that. We need to understand that if we need protection, we have to have stricter laws. If we do not have somewhere, we are giving them opportunity to operate like this.
Yeah. But tell me one thing, what is the situation in Europe?
In Europe, in Europe also there are not much cases again because
Right.
in Europe, getting a patent like in these domains is very difficult.
Yeah, and also Europe has similar provision like we have for
Correct,
declaratory suit, that if you don't have a valid claim for
correct.
bringing lawsuit, then you are ordered to pay costs. So there is a deterrent there.
And
But
additionally, Shalini, in US, it is the case that each party has to bear in the cost. But in
yeah,
Europe, the free shifting happens. Like the losing party will take all the blame of the cost.
yeah,
And as you know, the cost in Europe is much higher than US also.
right.
So nobody wants to take that risk of spending thousands of pounds in cases like these. That's why we do not see much cases in Europe too.
Yeah, but I think it's like you said, there's nothing illegal or immoral about. There's no place for morality in law. There is no
Mhm.
illegality in what they're
Correct.
doing. So
I
really,
think
you
US
cannot.
has to be strict. Other jurisdictions are still stricter.
US has to be.
Strict. Other jurisdictions are still
Yeah, other
stricter.
jurisdictions have provisions. I think US, but US is that economy is such. It is a capitalist economy, so
Correct. Correct.
it's all
Correct.
based on making money. And if you can, if you found a way within the uh, pillars of law, then I
Correct.
don't see there is anything wrong with it. But that doesn't mean that you give in to them and say yes or no, sir, three bags full. Uh, do your due diligence.
Yeah.
And they usually go after SMEs. They don't go after, because I just told you about Netflix and Apple, but uh, more often than not, they target smaller companies.
Yes, yes. I think it's because they feel like smaller companies will get afraid and do something.
Yeah. And
Like
also
give them the
because they may
license.
not,
They do not. Yeah,
right, and they won't have access to lawyers or legal
correct.
help at the early on in their startup career. So,
Yeah, definitely.
so
Yeah,
concluding
so
remarks. Go.
concluding remarks, do your due diligence properly when you get a threatening notice from anyone. Do the due diligence and then take care of it. Don't get worried. Don't get in the haste of negotiation. Half of the time it would not be required. So just don't hurry. So that is my suggestion. So Shalini, what are your closing remarks?
Um, they usually come after startups or after inventors who have a rich portfolio, but they have not yet been commercialized, or businesses that are going bankrupt. So they start looking for chinks in your armor when they come for you. So, you know, don't get defensive very easily. Take, take charge to study the patent, study the claims, what you have, your invention versus their invention, and more likely, more often than not, you will find that there is no overlap, or if there is, it is something that is already in the prior art before that particular patent was granted. So there is no need to panic.
Correct. Yeah, definitely. And half of the time they'll not file a suit.
Yeah, they're not
They'll
going to
just
file a suit.
threaten.
If any trolls are listening, they're going to come after us.
Next role Shalini and Priggya are receiving from I don't know. So
Right.
yes, thank you, Dr. Kamble and Samadhi for joining and Shalini. We had a wonderful time today.
Yes, as always.
Yeah, hope to see you all next time, next
See
Tuesday
you
at
next Tuesday.
10:30 p.m. Bye bye. Take care.